Welcome back everyone, my name is Eltimar and we are going to be continuing our Let's Play of Shadowrun Dragonfall. Where we left off last time, we were here in our base. We're going to go talk to people in a moment. We're going to hit up our computer though first and do all of our postings and stuff. Any new messages? 2 unread messages. There's a hijacked shipment job. Metbach Gunari. If you value new hardware coming into the Cruise Bazaar, we need to talk. One of my weapon shipments was hijacked by a local gang. I can promise 500 new yen, and if you can recover the shipment, I'll have some new gear on the shelf. Come see me for the details. We need to talk. Isabel, come see me at your earliest convenience. There's a matter we need to discuss. Okay, so we have 2 more side quests. We need to... We also need to post data and stuff. Let's claim payment for the Humanist data seal. You submit the job as finished and await your client's response. A few moments later, a message pops onto the screen. Samuel Beckenbauer, here's your payment as promised. A moment later, a second message pops into your inbox. Payment details. Payment from client, 22,500. Deductions for crew salary, 6,000. Ammunition and resupply costs, 1,500. Automatic deduction for Alice funds, 11,250. A remainder sent to Eltimar's account, 3,750. That's just sort of disappointing. Oh well, let's access the Shadowland BBS. Any relevant keywords? Topics matching local keywords. Let's see, thread Transist Highlander, best new deck. Just got one of these from a Transist NeuroNet rep. Wants me to sell them in my store, so I took the puppy for a test drive. Signal quality is insane. Makes it for a huge difference in comfort decking fatigue. I can stay jacked in for hours and feel fine. Last session I had to set a timer just so I wouldn't forget to eat. The specs on the thing look impressive, but I'm an Allegiance man. Does the comfort really make that much of a difference? My decks are usually generally beaters anyways. Allegiance, what are you doing with that thing? Playing video games? Any serious decking is going to require way more horsepower than that thing can push, even overclocked. Only a crappy decker blames their gear. I do just fine, thanks. How much is Transist paying you to post this scheisse on here? No more posts. Regarding and junk messages. Boy, Chummers, I can use your help. Every time I jack in the Matrix these days, I'm flooded with junk mail. There's so much of it I can't even see. Can anyone help me? Great, another newbie. Thinks he's on a tech support board. Hey, Stefan, I wouldn't ask, but I'm desperate. I can't deck like this. Alright, Thunder, calm down. Sounds like an ad bot is keyed into your deck. Been poking around anywhere sketchy lately? I don't need details. A simple yes or no will do. No, Bandit, I haven't been anywhere like that. I swear, please help. What you want to bet he gave his personal info to some scam site? I give you 10 to 1 odds. No, I don't think so. All I did was make an online dating profile. Let me guess, meet and mate. How'd you guess? That's not a real dating site, Thunder. It's a place where desperate people go to get infected with malware. What do I do? How do I make it stop? I don't know. Buy a new deck? Best of luck. No more posts. Any paid data to post? We can post the Humanist Safe House list. The posting will remain active for 2 days, so we can't really do that one yet. Alright, status of the Alice Fund, we are at we're at 21,250. We're like just under half. I'm not going to deposit any of my own personal money for that. Screw that. Let's go talk to Glory. For the first time since you met her, Glory's expression seems to brighten. It's subtle, but it's there. You're sure of it. Eltimar, a pleasure as always. Need anything from me? How you doing, Glory? Golden as always, Eltimar. No problems here. Any thoughts on that last run? I have no strong feelings about the run one way or another. Humanist is of course a horrible organization, but then so is every other target we've run against. To say that they deserved it would be redundant. She pauses for a moment to consider. I suppose it would have been nice to see Stahl die, but his days are numbered anyways. When the F-State discovers what he was planning, he's going to wish he was never born. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you're warming up to me. She studies your face for a moment before responding. I suppose you might say that. I don't talk to many people, Eltimar. It just doesn't seem to be worth the effort. I don't really feel much anymore, not since... She caresses the chrome of her forearm with a hand made of articulated steel. This. That's true, why are you still talking to me? I suppose it's because you've shown an interest, and because you haven't let me push you away. He locks eyes with you, her expression is blank. I don't want to mislead you, Eltimar. I don't feel anything, not warmth or friendship or even trust. But I can appreciate the effort you're making. It's something new, and it's worth exploring. You said that things went bad when you turned 14. I'd like to keep talking about that. She stares at you, her face expressionless. No, I'd rather not. Because I don't see any reason to. The memories are unpleasant, and dredging them up doesn't serve any real purpose. You're wrong about that. The last time we talked, it had an impact on you. That's the reason to continue. She pauses for a moment to consider your words, a troubled look on her face. I suppose that's true. Feeling discomfort is better than feeling nothing at all. Alright, here's the deal, Eltimar. I'm going to talk, you listen. When I'm done, I'm done. No complaints, no arguments, and we'll see what happens. Deal? Deal. Right. The 1,000-meter stare creeps back into Glory's eyes. A moment later, she's locked in her own head again, reliving memories that she'd long since filed away. So a few days after my 14th birthday, I began to express, magically. Go on. There's another long pause. Glory becomes more animated. Anyway, I turned 14, I awakened. I don't even remember how my parents found out about it anymore. I think my dad caught me playing with the tiny city spirit that I coaxed out of a pile of garbage, something like that. With everything that happened afterwards, those days are kind of a blur. What I do remember is that my father's response to the revelation that his little girl was a witch, a hexa, he beat the living shit out of me with his fists, and then his belt, and then a claw hammer that he grabbed out of his toolbox. All the while my mother was screaming and flailing at him. She took a couple licks too with the hammer. It's a miracle you survived. I'm just lucky, I guess. So finally, after what felt like an hour, Dad stopped tuning me up with the hammer. I had broken ribs, a busted arm, I couldn't see out of my left eye, and my entire right side was covered with one giant bruise. I was bleeding all over the place, making a real mess of the carpet. The old bastard spat on me, his bleeding, crying daughter. He spat on me and told me I was des Tavlasiur, the devil's whore. Then he kicked me out of the house. I was crawling my way. My dad told me that if he or any of his cruise ritter brothers ever saw me again, they'd treat me as the Berlin chapter treats the enemies of God. If you're not familiar with how the cruise ritters here in Berlin deal with heretics, it's decidedly less pretty than what my dad and his buddies did to their victims. I got the hint, and the next morning I hitched a ride at a Stuttgart. You were a human girl, presumably with ID. Why didn't you go to a hospital? Oh, I did, but not in Stuttgart. I went to a local hospital with the kind of injuries that Dad gave me. There'd be questions, and I couldn't afford to stay in town any longer than I had to. Even if my dad wound up getting arrested for beating me, the rest of the local cruise ritters would have found me. I'd wound up skinned alive and thrown in the Neckar. I wound up in Tübingen? And figured I'd be safe enough to find medical attention and maybe call home. It's not far from Stuttgart, but it has a huge student community I figured I could blend into, and the university there has a decent magic department. My ride dropped me off at the university hospital. They patched me up pretty good. Had some questions for me about how I got so beaten up, but I lied and told them that I'd been mugged, which played nicely into my complete lack of cash, credit, and identification. Glory pauses for a moment, then looks down at the floor, then fixes her eyes on you. She's visibly tense. We're gonna fast forward through the next few years. I was a kid on the street, got by as best I could, doing whatever I had to. The rest we can leave up to your imagination. Good? Good. Glory's clenched jaw relaxes somewhat, and the tension drains out of her shoulders. Thanks. So anyway, I lived on the streets for a few years, got used to being hungry all the time, got used to being rained on. Got by. I was painfully aware that I had magical talents, but without any kind of training or guidance, I didn't really know how to use or develop them. Truth be told, they scared me, so I more or less ignored them. So it just sort of went like that until a few days after my 17th birthday. Then I met Marta and everything changed. Marta was a sweet girl. At first I took her for a street kid like me. Her clothes were a little ratty, and she seemed comfortable being near me, but she also looked well fed and happy. And those were two things that I hadn't been in years. We started hanging out, and before I knew what was happening, I was in love. There was genuine attraction between Marta and me, I think. But I also think that a lot of my affection for her came from the fact that she was the first person in years to give a damn about me. She cared, and I loved her for that. Glory pauses. She looks flustered, her composure cracked. Keep going. She stares at you for a beat, then nods. A few ragged breaths later, she continues. Marta told me about a place where she'd been hanging out. She invited me to join her there. It was called Fjörstel, the fireplace, and it was sort of a commune for dispossessed youth. It turns out that a lot of street kids I've known over the years had moved there. The way they'd disappeared, I'd assumed they'd been kidnapped or killed or gone back to their parents. But there they were. I remember being kind of angry about it. How did everyone get the memo about this but me? Marta calmed me down. She was good at helping me work through my feelings, and I wound up following her to Fjörstel. To a street kid, it was basically paradise. The owner, a guy named Harrow, had set up this little farm just outside Tübingen in the Schönbuck forest. The Schönbuck is officially a nature park, but not many people go there nowadays. Too much fear of paranormal animals, I guess. Anyway, park or not, it was plenty big enough for us to hide in. It was also safe and pretty, and the farm was well stocked with food. Most importantly, Fjörstel gave us a sense of community and stability that we'd never had on the street, and we loved Harrow for that. He became like a surrogate father to us. She pauses again, and you realize the distinctive flush in her cheeks. She seems to have come out of her reverie once again. That's enough for now. I need to process all of this, and I don't want to continue forward until I've had the chance to do that. I know all this happened years ago, but I guess it's still pretty raw for me, so I'm going to ask you to give me some space for a while. She turns away. The frost begins to creep back into her voice. We can pick it up again later. You got it. We can't get level 4 yet. Sad. As you approach, Eiger turns to face you. Her rifle has been field stripped and is lying in pieces on a sheet of butcher paper. Arranged in a neat row along the edge of the paper are bottles of copper solvent, bore cleaner, and lighter fluid. Our fearless leader returns. What do you need? Are we good now, Eiger? Depends on what you mean good. I won't question your competence again, not in front of the others at least, but I'm not gonna lie. I still have concerns about you. Feelings mutual. She nods. That's fair. I've given you reason to be concerned. In fact, it'd be foolish of you not to be. For what it's worth, you have no reason to worry about my professionalism. My job is to support you and the rest of this team, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Just as long as you hold up your end, everything should work out fine. You said you had concerns about me. I'd like you to voice them. She shrugs. Alright, that's what you want. You're green, Eltimar. Too green to lead this team. That's my professional assessment, and yeah, I'm concerned about the situation. You can alleviate those concerns by doing your job and doing it well. The only thing that'll fix this is time. I'm not going to let history repeat itself, Eltimar. That won't happen on my watch. What history are you talking about? Let's just say I've had bad luck with underexperienced teammates and leave it at that. Was there something else you wanted to talk about? Or can I get back to cleaning my rifle? Tell me about the KSK. She shakes her head. No, I'm not in the habit of sharing war stories, Eltimar, not with people who have never served. What? You think I wouldn't understand? No, it isn't that. You've been under fire before, you get it. But I don't share war stories with civilians. You may be a Shadowrunner, but you were never a soldier. It doesn't have to be a war story. I just want a better idea who I'm running with. She looks at you in the eye for a moment, evaluating. Finally, she shrugs. Alright, Eltimar, you win. I owe everything in my time to the KSK, from my street name on down. So, you tell me what you want to know, and we'll see where this goes. Tell me about your street name. Back when I was in basic training, a fellow recruit made a vulgar joke at my expense. He said that I reminded him of the north face of the Eiger in the Bernese Alps. Huge and beautiful, but dangerous to climb. His tone left little doubt as to what sort of climbing he had in mind. I think he was trying to proposition me in his clumsy way, poking me in front of the other recruits to try and provoke a reaction. She shrugs. Anyway, he got one. I broke 3 of his ribs, and the name stuck. Served him right. Eiger regards you with a critical eye. You may actually mean that, but then you may just be trying to get on my good side. Anyone who'd use a line like that, or line that bad, deserves to get smacked around a little. She nods. For once, we're in complete agreement, but there was more to it than that. As soon as that idiot made his little joke, it was a foregone conclusion that I was getting saddled with the nickname Eiger. My only choice in the matter was whether it happened under his terms or mine. If I hadn't broken that twit's ribs, the name Eiger would have meant a difficult sexual conquest to a whole barracks full of recruits. That's what it would have been to them from that point on. My own accomplishments be damned. Thanks to what I did, my new name meant the troll who doesn't take shit from anyone. Instead, it's a name I'm proud to go by, and I've hung on to it ever since. Eiger pauses for a moment and looks you in the eye. A word of advice to you, Eltimar. If anyone ever puts you in the position that he put me in, if he demeans you in front of your unit, whatever his intent, the appropriate response is to put that person down. Hard. Out in the field, nothing will kill you faster than losing the respect of your team. By that logic, I should have broken your ribs after Monica died. In your place, I would have. She looks you up and down, appraising you. Not that you've succeeded if you tried, but in terms of saving face, it would have done wonders. In all seriousness, Eltimar, I'm sorry I put you in that position. I shouldn't have, and I acknowledge that. Need anything else, or can I get back to prepping for our next run? Tell me about your team. She nods. Fair enough, I guess you earned it. There were 8 of us, 2 commando squads working as a single unit. Schmidt and Lange were combat deckers. Wolf was our rigger and combat engineer. Fischer handled demolitions. Braun was a medic, and the rest of us, Metzer, Kruger, and myself, were weapons experts. Our mission was extraterritorial, technically illegal, but important enough to justify the risk. We'd been sent across the border into Poland. The Russian mafia had set up a cottage industry and human trafficking all along the Oder-Neisse line, and it was our job to disrupt it. Go on. We were a good team, experienced, we went through a lot together, and we chucked up a lot of kills. In our own way, I like to think we did some good. Who was in command? Metzger, best leader I've ever had the pleasure of serving under. Her face clouds. He was a hell of a man, but he went down with the rest of the team, everyone but me. What happened? No, that's one story I won't be telling. They died, and that's all you need to know. Thanks, Eiger. So, was there something else you wanted to talk about? Or, no, it's the rifle thing. Have you ever heard of an organization called the Lodge? Afraid not. It's a Berlin thing. You might be better off talking to one of the others. They've all been here longer than I have. Any thoughts about the last run? After all the moral ambiguity that we've been wading through, hitting Jimenez was incredibly satisfying. What they had planned makes my blood boil just thinking about it. I still wish I could have put a bullet in Stahl's spine, but if the fallout from tonight's run is as far-reaching as I think it's going to be, he's probably going to wind up wishing he were dead, and that's almost as satisfying. No more questions. Sure thing, fearless leader. Good talk. I gotta pet the puppy. That is just the thing you do. You pet the dog. Eltimar, welcome back. I have news for you. This is not the person I want to talk to. In your absence, I've been looking into Harfeld Manor. Oh, we'll talk to him anyways. Whatever Fürschwinch is up to, it's both large-scale and well-funded. I've discovered a money trail leading from holding companies all over the world to an offshore fund with a dummy address. From there, all that freshly laundered money flows directly into Harfeld Estate. How much money are we talking here? I can't name the exact figure, but we're talking about a lot of money in the millions of Nuyen, most certainly. Whatever the Firewing is planning, she has access to all the resources she'll need to carry it out. But Fierschwinge was different. She didn't scheme or plot, she acted. Yes, and look where it got her. When the Firewing launched her attack on humanity, it was an act of hubris. She lashed out because she didn't consider our species a threat. It would be equally hubristic for us to assume that she wouldn't make the same mistake twice. I will continue digging into this while you and the team tackle your next run. With luck, I'll have more information to share upon your return. Thanks, Paul. One last thing, Eltimar. My lead was able to restore the readable surface of one of Greenwinter's DVDs. If you'd like to take a look, you'll find it sitting beside the player. Just one? She's still working on the others. Many of them were extensively damaged, and getting anything off of them is proving to be quite the chore. She's told me she'll be in touch if and when she makes any headway. Well, Dietrich, let's go talk to you about your nephew. You really came through for me, boss. If you ever need anything from me, anything at all, then you can count on, or you can call on me. I'll come running. How's Alexander doing? He's a good kid, that nephew of mine. Give him some time. He'll shake Stahl's programming. Might take a while, but he'll adjust to life here in the cruise bazaar. In the meantime, I found a good home for him. Samuel's agreed to take him. Is that wise? Samuel's employees have no love for humanus. Most of them don't even like humans. Best thing for the kid will be to learn through immersion. If he stays with Samuel's group, he'll have no choice but to interact with metahumans. Soon enough, he'll learn that they're no different from anyone else. In a few days... Or sorry, the first few days will be rough, no question, but he'll make it through and he'll come out the other side a better man for it. He seems like a tough kid. I don't doubt you're right. Peter claps you on the shoulder. You're a good man, boss. One other thing. Remember when I was telling you back when we climbed into the van? Yeah, about the Dragon Slayer that he was happy and gave you a reward. That's right, thanks to our, let's not mince words, heroic actions back in that swine pit, the Dragon Slayer has seen fit to grant me his favor. His grin widens. And I now know what that means, and what I can do with it. Tell me about it. He gestures to the ground near his feet. This. As you watch, the spot Dietrich is pointing at begins to glow. Lines of force spread out in a scintillating web, and a feeling of raw power suffuses your body. I've just torn open a channel between myself and the Dragon Slayer. That power you feel is his power, pouring through the ether and into that spot. If you're familiar with ley lines, it's the same basic concept. I consecrate a patch of ground, and as long as I stand in that spot, all of my magic gets stronger. He crosses his arms over his chest. Not bad, huh? What about another major shaman? Could someone else benefit, too? He shrugs, don't see why not. Like I said, it's basically a ley line. As long as you're on the Dragon Slayer's good side, I don't see why you couldn't use it. My idol, he isn't stingy with his gifts. Anyway, boss, I want to keep fiddling with this. I'm going to learn to properly control it and make sure that I'm sure you've got things to do as well. You take care of whatever else needs doing, and by our next run I'll be able to use this. Sounds good, take care, Dietrich. We have 2 side quests to go do, though, apparently. We should probably get at least started on one of those in the remainder of this video. We've had lots of talking. Our team are long-winded. But it is important to learn about your team in this game because... Oh, right, we didn't watch the DVD, hang on. Because if you don't learn about your team, you don't unlock their secret missions. Load the second DVD. Play track 1. Screen goes black for a moment, then green. Winters appears on the screen. Timestamp is 2054-1111. Alright, as I said in my last recording, I've been having trouble finding hardbacks on Fierschwinge, so I thought I'd open up things a bit. Let's see what the rumor mill has to say. The screen jumps, Winters reappears in a different location. He's clutching a mug of soy calf in both hands, and there are bags under his eyes. Well, that was enlightening, assuming that any of it was true, that is. So for the past five years, I've been poking around some of the crazier fringe theories related to dragons and the Sox. As a reminder, the Sox is an irradiated wasteland between France and Germany that got zoned off back in 08 after the Cattenom GAU reactor meltdown. Anyway, there are all kinds of rumors floating around about the place. I've heard stories about a walled city there that operates on a survival of the fittest, kill or be killed basis, sort of like a nightmare version of Berlin. All the anarchy, but none of the stability that the F-state provides. The radiation poisoning, cancer, and mana pollutions are just icing on the cake. So when Adrian helped the Luftwaffe shoot Fierschwinge down and she crashed into the Sox, that much is well known. What isn't known are all of the modern day myths that have arisen about her since, and tonight I've heard an earful. I chatted up a girl who claimed to be a ghost rat, that's a smuggler who operates in the Sox. She told me about the dragon cult called the Disciples of Cleansing Fire. Apparently these cultists worship some sort of radioactive ghost dragon. It could be Fierschwinge, or it could be nothing, but it's worth digging into all the same. Another thing that my little ghost rat told me, the popular rumor in the Sox, is that Fierschwinge's astral form was, I guess you'd say, mutated by all that background radiation. Some of the glowpunks out there say that she shed her body like an old coat. Others say she's trapped, doomed to languish as an intangible radioactive ghost. I don't know how much credence I give in any of this. After all, I don't have any proof that Ghost Rat is even a ghost rat. She might be But then she could also be a run-of-the-mill glowpunk. Or maybe she's just yanking my chain and she's never been into the socks at all, who knows. Well, it's food for thought anyways. I don't know whether the thought of some radioactive ghost dragon thing is any scarier than a genuine dragon is, but it's interesting all the same. Now the question is, will any of this get me closer to finding Adrian? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no, but you never can tell. Number 2. It's the next day. Alright, let's continue thinking outside the box. After the Dragonfall, the great dragon, Kallenstein, came flying into the socks to rescue the Firewing, but he was driven off, some say killed, by Lofweir and Nebelhair. So what if there's another dragon involved in all of this? Winters grabs a thick leather-bound tome from a shelf behind him, licks a finger, and begins to leaf through it. Alright, so let's run down the list of major dragons that could be helping her. First is the Golden Wyrm, Lofweir, the CEO of Seder Group, and quite possibly the single most dangerous being on Earth. Lofweir is a local boy, so he'd be in position to help Fierschwinge. He certainly has the financial capability to help her. He could send a small army into the socks if he wanted to. So he's definitely got the means, but I can't see how he'd have the motive. He actively prevented the Firewing's rescue back in 2012 after all. Same thing is true for Nebelhair, so let's scratch both of them off the list. We got Aiden, the Great Suresh, but he's operating out of Turkey. By all accounts, he's not a fan of Lofweir. They're actively competing for territory in the Middle East, so I suppose that could be considered motive. Reviving the Firewing might cause problems for the Golden Wyrm. But would he risk a war with Seder Group by straying onto Lofweir's territory? Again, not likely. He turns another page. There's Celadir out in Wales. He's pretty heavily invested in Transys Neuronet, so he's got the money, but he's too busy dealing with BLT killer scandals, and the Transys is going around in London to get his claws dirty in the socks. Dunkelzon is on the UCAS. He pauses his head, then slams the tome shut. No, this is a waste of time. The more I think about it, the more convinced I am. The Firewing is acting alone. Dragons don't cooperate unless they absolutely have to. After all, why bother making nice with your egos when you've got an entire planet full of pawns at your disposal? They don't need to work together. They have us to exploit. While this track does load is clearly corrupted, the screen fills with a meaningless stream of text. Yeah, there's nothing really noticeable there that I can see. The file is partially garbled. You recognize a few words here and there, but they're interspersed amidst a solid block of corrupted text. Beauclair is still my big something wing, still searching for Firewing. We'll swear to Aslian turning up. I don't know. ASCII characters. Nothing really all that noticeable here. And the screen goes black and the same digital chime that you heard on the Dragonfall DVD plays again. A crackle of static fills the air, followed by that same now familiar electronic whine. The display goes live. Adrian Beauclair. Hermie, it's me. I can't sleep. I don't know where you are. Out having fun, no doubt. Maybe flirting with one of those unattainable beauties that you're always chasing. He tries on a smile, but it quickly disappears. He takes a drag on a cigarette. That's good. I want you to live a pleasant, normal life. After all, one of us should. Beauclair rubs his eyes. I can still smell the smoke, Hermie. It's been almost a year later, and I can still taste the stench of burning corpses. When I sleep, I hear the sirens and the screams. There's no sound in this world as horrible as a burn victim screams. The doctors would call this PTSD, I'm sure. They'd have me in therapy, maybe dose me up on SSRIs like they do our veteran soldiers. He chuckles and takes another drag. Quite a story for the tabloids. The great dragon slayer Adrian Beauclair, mentally incapable of wrestling with his own demons. He shakes his head. No therapy for me, and certainly no medication. I have a reputation to live up to, however poorly deserved it is, and however little I want it. He pauses, stubs out a cigarette. The dragon is alive for me, of that I'm certain. One day I will find her, and then perhaps I'll be able to sleep through the night. And back to main menu. Alright. Now we can leave. That was a lot more exposition. This is a very lore-heavy game, by the way, if you haven't noticed. It's a lore-heavy world, I should say. It's much more roleplay than it is run-and-gunny. Let's talk to Canary. Welcome back. You need some weapons, some ammunition, perhaps? Got your message about that missing shipment. How can I help? He nods. A gang from a nearby Kiaz has been hijacking shipments bound for our cruise bazaar, taking money out of our pockets. I could use your help stopping this from happening. Your dear departed Monica used to provide encryption and information control for the cruise bazaar. Now that she's gone, we merchants have been having no end of trouble. The obvious answer is that a gang has been intercepting our communications. Kind. Shipping manifests, payment orders, that kind of thing. A group with an agenda could use that information to set an ambush, and that's just what this gang has been doing. Several cargo trucks full of goods have already been hijacked en route to the cruise bazaar. I had a tracking device placed on the last shipment that I sent out, containers full of weapons and medical supplies. Sure enough, it got taken. I've tracked it to Xvim. If you've never been there, it's a kiosk built out of an old U-Bahn station, some old bunkers. Rumor has it, a new gang called the Rabengeister is holed up there. I suspect that the two things are related. I need you to go to Xvim, find the Rabengeister, and get our goods back. I can offer you 500 new yen for the task, and if you can recover our missing weapons, I'll be able to supply you some better hardware too. I got it. Good, it's about time I had some new inventory come in. One more thing, Eltimar. I'm gonna need you to go in the light on this one. Take a friend along if you like, but no more than one. If you spook them, they could trash the merchandise. Best go quiet. Let's go soon too, before the trail goes cold. One person only? Who am I gonna take with me? Eiger, probably? Just having a drink of water. Super thirsty. Let's go to the Ganari's missing shipments. One person. Sorry, I popped my microphone there. We'll take Eiger. She's good at shotgunning things. Actually, maybe we should have gone with, Dietrich. Oh well. It's fine. It's a short ride to the Xvim. You exit the subway car, stepping onto the old, grungy platform. The place is deserted, though. Signs of life are everywhere. A gaping hole in the ceiling filters cool, hazy light from above. You're right, a small plot of crops struggles to endure in the cold and limited light of the station. Trash and junk littered the platform. It's clear this place hasn't had anything resembling a janitorial staff in quite some time. Somewhere in this old run-down U-Bahn station lies the entrance to the Xvim kiosk, and hopefully some leads on the whereabouts of the Rabengeister and Ganari's missing shipment. Okay, that's fine. That's all the guns we need. We have some sort of shotgun. We need a better assault rifle. That's the next big purchase. After this quest, we'll go get some stuff. How much karma do we have? We have 2. It's not like we have a lot of karma built up. I also need more ranged combat and rifle skill, but we'll work on that. We also need better ESP. Actually, you know what? We can get one more ESP skill, and I think I'm going to do that right now. Our ESP control is really bad, and we really need it to be higher. Alright, what do we got? We can inspect. The stairwell down looks to have completely collapsed. There's a garden. The old fluorescent grow lights are barely keeping the plants alive. Almost no light from the surface makes it this far underground. Hello. That's far enough, friend. An older man raises his hand, squinting as you approach. To his left, a young orc shifts his weight, resting one hand casually on a pistol on his hip. Both are dressed in what might be considered uniforms, but it's hard to tell for sure. We don't get many visitors down there these days, and you'll forgive me for saying, but well, you don't really look like the type that usually comes through here. He looks fed for one thing, the old man snorts. Indeed, so what brings you to Xvim, stranger? From the cruise bazaar, we think a gang in these parts calling themselves the Rabengeister hijacked a shipment belonging to us. You hear about anything like that? A gang, eh? The man looks over to his partner at the back of you warily. No, we keep security pretty tight around here. If a gang like that was running stuff through here, we'd know about it. Look, we don't want any trouble. Why don't you just move along, catch the next train back? Got nothing to hide. Why don't you let me in? The old man fixes you with a hard stare. Not gonna happen, stranger. Now I think it's time you let us be. Let's work out a deal. About 100 new yen for your trouble. The older man tries to keep his face neutral, but you can tell you've gotten his attention. Oh, so you think you'd just buy us off, is that it? You guys could use the new yen, I could use a look around. Simple as that. Guards exchange glances again, then the man lowers his eyes, muttering something under his breath. Fine, make it 200. Each. It's 100. Take it or leave it. The man narrows his eyes at you for a long moment, finally reaches out wordless as you take the cred stick from your hand, then steps aside. Just watch yourself, okay? You cause a scene looking for this gang of yours. There's more to our little militia here than you'd want to mess with. Let's go find ourselves a gang. Big area. The man before you is of average build and in nondescript dress. He's leaning against an old wooden cabinet, reading a book. As you approach, he looks up and casts a warm smile in your direction. Guten Tag, name's Korn, friend. Can't say I've seen you around these parts before, just passing through, or looking for information. Ever heard of a gang called the Rabengeister? Certainly, they've been spinning quite a tale these parts of late. Hard to know anything for sure though. One rumor says they hijacked freight out of Frankfurt or Tor. Then the next day you hear about a sighting down in Alexanderplatz. Just yesterday. Heard someone claim they saw a member of the Rabengeister speed by in the U-Bahn tunnel, clinging to the side of a train car. Ha! He leans closer. Between you and me, that's probably a gang called Surf Turf. Strange ones, those. I heard they implant suction cups with their hands and feet. I guess they're really like hitching rides on the U-Bahn trains. He shakes his head with amusement. That's the flux state for you, though, full of the strange and unexpected. Seen a shipment of weapons pass through here recently? His face falls. Wish they had, friend. It's too bad. This place used to be soaring with commerce. But now hardly anything passes through here, I'm afraid. Folks around here are lucky enough to have a full meal at the end of the day. At times, I suppose. Indeed they are. You need anything else, friend? Going now. Alright, we're at half an hour. We're going to call it here. In the next video, we'll continue exploring around this area. Looks like a pretty big area, so there should be lots to do here. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.